Hi, boys and girls. Well, we are still focusing on solids, and a solid is a state of matter. So, looking at this cover here, I see some very solid rocks. But did you know the grass that they're sitting on is also a solid? The soil they're sitting on is also a solid. So there are a lot of solids in this picture, and if I look really closely, even these little dandelions are a solid. They might be soft, but they are still a solid. Title page, solids. Table of contents. We know this book means that it is non-fiction, and we're probably going to get a wrinkle. Chapter 1. The world is full of solids. Solids are a form of matter. Do you know what matter is? It's all around you. It is anything that takes up space and has weight. Mountains and oceans are matter. So is the air we breathe. Plants and animals are matter. People are too. Almost everything in the universe is matter. Matter can be in different forms or states. It can be a liquid or a gas. It can also be a solid. Only solids hold their own shape. You can change a solid's shape, but it will not change on its own. Solids make up most of our world. In school, your chair is a solid. So is your computer. Your books are solid too, just like the one we're reading. And the clothes you wear is a solid, and the sandwich is a solid. Do you see any other solids? What other solids can you see in this picture? A classroom full of solids. Chapter 2, the properties of solids. There are many kinds of solids. How can we describe them? The ways we describe them are called properties. Solids can be different sizes. They can be huge, like the moon. They can be tiny, like the grains of sand on a beach. A powder is many, many tiny pieces of a solid. A solid has weight. We're using a set of scales here. That's a tool we can use in math and in science to determine how heavy or light something is. Two solids can be the same size, but they may have different weights. Solids have different textures. Texture is how it feels. A solid can be smooth, or a solid can be rough. A marble is smooth, sandpaper is rough. A solid can be hard, or a solid can be soft, like your lips. Steel is very hard. Modeling clay is very soft. Wood is harder than clay, but softer than steel. So they are comparing and contrasting how hard and soft things feel. Some solids are very strong. Most bridges are made of steel, a strong metal. A steel bridge can hold many cars and trucks. Steel is very heavy. Some strong solids are light. Spider webs are made of silk threads. They are light, but they are very strong. Think about when you walk into a spider web and it sticks to you, and it's really hard to break it and pull it off. It's very strong. Certain solids can be bent or stretched. They are flexible. You can bend a piece of wire. You can stretch a rubber band. Other solids do not change their shape so easily. You can't bend a rock. What are some properties of a solid? It has a certain weight. It has a certain texture. The solid may be strong It may also be flexible. If you get a rubber band, that is kind of strong. You can break them, but it takes a bit of effort. And they definitely stretch and they definitely bend. Chapter 3. Mixed up solids. Solids can be mixed together. Dirt is a mixture of solids. It is often made up of dust, sand, rock, and dead plants. Powdered sugar is a mixture of solids. It is a mixture of sugar and cornstarch. A solid can mix with a liquid. Have you ever made a chocolate milk? Then you have mixed a solid and a liquid. The cocoa is a solid. The milk is a liquid. When you pour the cocoa powder into the milk, it dissolves. The powder's tiny pieces spread out and they mix with the milk. A solution is a solid mixed with a liquid. Many solids mix with water. Do you want to help dissolve a solid? Stir or shake the solution. Heat also helps dissolve a solid, but some solids and liquids do not mix at all. Some solid pieces may float. Think about when you have chicken noodle soup. The noodles and the chicken, they don't dissolve, so they are a solid inside a liquid. Solids can also mix with gases. Oxygen is a gas in the air. We breathe in oxygen and we blow out carbon dioxide. Have you ever seen the rust on metal, like an old bicycle or an old car? The metal has mixed with oxygen and water, and then it made rust. Chapter 4. Changing solids. A solid can change in many ways. Its shape can be changed. It can be bent. It could be cut. Paper can bend. Paper can be cut. A solid can be crushed to make a powder. And a solid can also be burnt. When it burns, some of it turns into ash, which is a solid. It's a fine powder. Many solids melt if they get hot. They turn into liquids. When they cool down, they turn back into solid again. A solid has a melting point. So if the temperature gets higher and higher, when the solid finally turns into a liquid, that's its melting point. Metal solids can turn into liquids. So can rocks. Have you ever seen lava? That is molten rock. Solids can change the temperature of things. They conduct or pass on their heat or cold. Heat from your hand makes an ice cube melt. People often change solids. They can cut trees into boards to make houses. They can make tools, cars, and other things out of metal. People can use solids in many ways. Can you think of a way to use a solid? I think I could use a solid hammer to bang in a solid nail, and then I've made something, and here's our glossary here. So your job today, scientists, is to go on a solid hunt around your house. See if you can find 4 things that are solid. Maybe they could be solids that are tools. Maybe they could be solids that are toys. Maybe they could be solids that I eat. All it needs to be is a solid. And remember, a solid is something that when I pick it up and I leave it on its own, if it doesn't change its shape, it is a solid. But I can change this one's shape for a moment, but when I leave it alone, it's a solid. I wonder what other solids I can find in the classroom. Hey, Mrs. Chen, do you think you can help me find some solids?